You may think your efforts go unnoticed. You may feel like no one's watching, and that's true. Most people won't see the struggles, the sacrifices, the quiet moments when you choose to show up even though you feel like disappearing. But God is watching. He sees every tear, every prayer, and every tiny victory that seems insignificant to the world but means everything to you. You might think the real challenge is tomorrow, next month, or next year. Waking up to the sound of an alarm that feels like an enemy, dragging yourself out of bed when all you want is just 5 more minutes. God sees you making your morning coffee, hoping it'll fuel not just your body but also your spirit. When things settle down, when you get that job, when you lose those pounds, when everything is perfect. But the battle isn't someday, the battle is today, right now, in this moment. It's that moment when you feel like giving up, when you don't feel ready, when the world seems to move faster than you can keep up with. That's the battle, and you win every time you show up. Life is full of moments where we feel defeated, moments when our strength is tested. But true power lies not in avoiding the struggle, but in showing up despite it. Success isn't a gigantic mountain you climb in a single leap. It's the small steps, the quiet victories. It's being present even when it's easier to stay in the shadows. It's knowing that showing up doesn't mean showing up perfectly. It means showing up as you are, flawed, uncertain, but here. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take that one step. Sometimes showing up is the bravest thing you can do. We live in a world obsessed with perfection. Flawless lives, perfect careers, and instant success. But life isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. God didn't put you here to be perfect. He put you here to try, to learn, to grow, and to keep showing up no matter how many times you fall. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be the best at everything you do. All you need is the courage to show up as you are, imperfect, struggling, but trying, and that is more than enough. Every time you show up, you honor the life God has given you. Success isn't reserved for the most talented, the smartest, or the ones who have it all together. It's for those who show up day after day, even when the odds are stacked against them. It's for those who keep going when it feels like they're moving through mud. It's for those who keep the faith even when it's hard to see what lies ahead. Your journey may be difficult, but the fact that you keep going even when it seems like there's no end in sight is what makes you stronger. God doesn't ask for perfection. He asks for faithfulness. He sees your heart and understands your struggles. Every time you show up, especially when it's difficult, you demonstrate to God that you trust Him, that you believe He has a plan, even if it's hard to grasp right now. The tough times, the challenging days when you feel you lack the strength to continue, are the ones that count the most. Those are the sacred moments, the times when God is molding you, refining you, shaping your character. It's easy to show up when everything is going well, when the world seems to be in alignment, when the path ahead is clear. But what about on the hard days? What about when things seem chaotic and out of control? That's when your true strength is revealed. When you're at your lowest, when you feel like giving up, and yet you push forward, you build the resilience that will carry you through life's storms. That's when your character is built, where your faith strengthens, and where God meets you. He sees you trying. He sees you battling through pain, doubt, and fear. Every time you show up, you affirm that He was right. You train your mind to keep going even when your heart isn't fully committed, and with each attempt, you become a little tougher, a little wiser, and significantly closer to your goals. Not everyone is watching you all the time. There's no audience, no applause. At times, it feels like no one cares. But remember, you're not doing this for others. You're doing it for yourself, for the future version of you who will look back and thank you for showing up when it was tough. Don't wait for someone to notice your efforts. Don't wait for a compliment or words of encouragement. Show up for yourself because you are worth it. The journey you're on, the effort you put in, the small steps you take, are all part of creating the life you want. The applause may not come right away, but the satisfaction of knowing you did your best will be more rewarding in the long run. Change the narrative in your mind. Instead of saying, "I have to work out," say, "I get to move my body." Instead of, "I have to work," reframe it as, "I get to create, to provide, to contribute." Instead of, I have to show up. Think, I get to grow, to learn, to be better than I was yesterday. When you start viewing each day as an opportunity rather than an obligation, showing up transforms from a chore into a gift. A chance to prove that you are not defined by your failures, fears, or fatigue. You are stronger than that. Every time you show up, you're constructing your future brick by brick. It may not seem significant now, but every effort matters. Each minute you invest in yourself, in your dreams, and in becoming slightly better than you were yesterday counts. Remember, your future isn't merely something that happens to you, it's something you actively create every single day, and it begins with showing up. Even when the world is chaotic, when you face obstacles that seem insurmountable, every time you show up and take one more step, you're shaping your future. It's easy to celebrate the major victories, but let's also start acknowledging the small daily wins. Waking up early, choosing the apple instead of a donut, completing a project, or picking yourself up after a setback. These are the moments that truly define you. These are the moments that matter. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. It's not about achieving monumental goals every day. It's about taking action, however small it may seem, every day. Consistency is what leads to growth. Take pride in showing up, even when it's messy, imperfect, or challenging. You don't need to conquer mountains today, just take a step. Answer that email, make that call, go for that run, open that book. It's not about the magnitude of the action, it's about taking action itself. It's not about doing something extraordinary every day, it's about doing something consistently. Every small step you take is one step closer to your goals. Every time you show up, you reaffirm your commitment to yourself and to your future. Every time you show up, you are proclaiming to the world, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm still trying. Keep going. Keep showing up. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how many setbacks you face, remember that each time you rise and take that next step, you are creating the person you want to be. The world may not notice your progress right away, but your persistence will pay off in the long run. You are building your legacy one day at a time.